welcome to Rubbing Minds Plus. My name is Desmond Ekunwe, and today we're having conversations with an editor. He goes by the name of Kolapo Olapoju.
Personally, I think many governors have done their citizens a disservice through their handling of the pandemic in their respective states. Save for Lagos and sometimes Oyo and other states, many governors have been responsive enough and taking firm action. So I think moving forward, we'll get to a point where I hope we'll get to a point where the citizens will more. Because if you look across the world now, there's increased agitations by coming from the disenfranchised, coming from people who feel left out, of policies. I want to believe that moving forward, when elections come, Nigerians should be more vocal about the things they want, such as healthcare, such as infrastructure, and also the manufacturing sector in each state. I believe that Nigerians should have gotten to that point where they'll be more vocal about what they want. We do not exactly demand for what we want, and I guess that is why we have the leaders that we have. But I think everybody's aware that media consumption reached an all-time high in the past few months. Everybody is on social media platforms, on networking platforms, on digital platforms, doing all sorts, making use of different platforms to achieve different things. Right now, apart from that, there's also the core news consumption. That's also at an all-time high. But the unfortunate thing is that it's not translating into revenue for media practitioners. Many platforms are getting huge traffic, unprecedented traffic, but it's not translating to revenue. But that's just is a function of the times that we find ourselves, whereby cash is in scarce supply.
Well, how come? Because I asked someone and he said there's a lot of online right now for brands. A lot of brands are from spending money on campaign, and because a lot of people are now spending money, a lot of money, social media, all of that. But then I still hear you say blogs in this platform, but then it's not translating to money now.
Okay, now many brands, their finances have taken a hit, and also that is why many of them had to either lay off or cut salaries across board. So their advertising revenue, the advertising budget right now, many of them are cutting it. So what is happening right now is the brands that need the digital space to thrive, and they know that their businesses need the digital space. They are the ones that are putting more money in the advertising revenue, budgets. You understand where we are now? That's the situation that we have, whereby a number of Nigerian brands have not yet, embraced how to do business. And right now, COVID-19 is going to force them to do that. And COVID-19 will force them to put out more digital campaigns, put out more adverts online, so that they'll be able to attract the audience and their core audience that they may have not connected with before. The situation that is playing out is not something that just manifested, that is just manifesting. It's a function of inequality and poverty. So when you have a populace that is largely poor, and then most of them live by what they make every day, you can't lock them up, you can't lock them home for several months, and you not expect them at some point to come out to find a way to survive. There's serious inequality in Nigeria, there's serious challenges across parts of the country. And when we think that people can just sit at home and respect the COVID-19 guidelines, that's a pipe dream, because the reality is that it's similar to the protests that are happening across the globe now in some countries. People are saying this pandemic is still out there, don't protest. But there are core issues, there are serious issues that are also enraging people and are forcing them to come out to protest at the detriment of their health. That should really say a lot, that if people can forsake their health and come out to say we want to protest or we want to survive, which is applicable to Nigeria, then it tells you that there are more serious problems that we should address. For Nigeria, it is poverty, it is healthcare, it is education, it is inequality. We need to address those problems before we can expect people to actually respect these COVID-19 guidelines. But that doesn't mean that if you can avoid going out, you should go out. If you can stay at home, if you have the means to stay at home and you can survive, do the right thing and stay at home. But one of the things that I feel government has to do is more orientation or active conversations about it. So a lot of people are just like, well, let's move on to our lives. Okay, let me explain something to you. I remember covering the Revolution Now protest alongside my colleague, my former cable colleague, Femi Olabi. One thing that we observed at that protest was the indifference of Nigerians. There's a chronic indifference, inherent in Nigeria. Unfortunately, I'm inclusive, and we seem not to want to ask for what we deserve until we are really affected. And even when we are really affected, we find ways to adapt, ways to survive, to cope, and keep moving on. So it's just a function of, it's a situation of having a people that can always adjust, can always adapt, no matter how bad things get. So I do not see us ready. That was the first thing I talked about, right? Those are people, we don't seem ready to protest, because you think about it, a lot of countries, they are protesting different issues of police brutality, inequality, racial issues, and all that. Our own issues are different, but we also have police brutality and we have serious inequality. And anytime, I like to say that most Nigerians are e-protesters. We protest online. But to come out to protest, we don't protest. And we don't have this culture of protest.
With the few numbers of people, that with few numbers of people going young people, people who have jobs, people speaking out, people scared to get jobs, but still speaking out on this, saying that stop killing us.
Was it sustained? No. That's the thing. You cannot do a one-off.
It's going to be like something that would have to find that just happens. And then the conversation still happens.
Okay, let's see. Let's see what happens. I'm a believer, I like to think that I used to be an optimist, but Nigeria made me a realist. And the situation is, over the past 10, 15 years, I've seen many situations whereby it seems like we want to ask for a change. It seems like we want to come out and really change things. But then, before you know, everything peters out, and then we stop making noise, we stop talking, the conversation dries up when we get hungry. That's the situation. And that's the unfortunate reality. Hunger is at the core of the problem. Hunger is the fundamental issue that we need to change. Hunger is why you have educated, learned people who are allies to learned politicians who are mediocre. Hunger is why we have those situations. So I used to think that my generation will change Nigeria. I used to really believe, but I don't know now. I'm just sitting on the fence and observing. I want to see if we are really ready. I don't know, because many people in my generation hunger has different levels. There are different levels of hunger. I don't want to say that in the middle class, because middle class is slowly drying up in Nigeria, but somewhere close to the middle class who are so hungry and are losing sight of what matters and what is right. So hunger needs to be fixed. I agree with you. It's important to be hopeful. I remain hopeful, but I've gotten to a point where I know that it's important to be cautiously optimistic about everything and anything that has to do with Nigeria, else you get your heart broken.
Okay, hopefully our hearts don't. Thank you so much for joining us.